go old, to bring us to this point, and all of the members of the search committee, as well as the various affinity groups that they represented, including the National Alumni Association, the Rattler F Club, the Rattler Boosters, the 220 Club. Who am I leaving out? The Foundation Board of Directors, the faculty, the students, as well as the student athletes. So thank you all for contributing to what has led to this date. So thank you for all of that. And then, of course, we must always acknowledge the Rattler fans who are going to be behind this coach and this team and this university as we move forward in 2024 and beyond. Thank you all for that. I know I can take advantage of that in anticipation of that's going to happen. I do want to acknowledge, I see here some dignitaries sitting on the front row here. Dr. Doctor, I gave you a promotion. City Commissioner Diane Williams-Cox, thank you so much for joining us today. And you wouldn't be sitting in these stands in this place if it were not for her and Blueprint for providing the monies to allow us to renovate this stadium. And then, of course, I have to thank all of our students and faculty, staff, and particularly the 100 for making this one of the best places to play in America, considering that we have the longest home winning streak in America. So thank you so much, Diane Williams-Cox, Commissioner Cox, for all you've done to make this possible. Then I just have one other thing I want to say before I move on to AD Sykes, who probably won't be as rambling as much as I am. You know, a few years ago, we coined this expression, the dark cloud defense, right? And some people say that it may have made a little bit of a difference in how the defense performed over the years. And since I was the one who suggested that, there are these fallacies of logic. One of them is the post hoc fallacy, after this, because of this, right? And so because of that, we have one of the top defensive teams in America, the dark cloud defense. And I've been trying to figure out, Coach Colzie, what to do about the offense. Not that they aren't great, right? But I think they could have played a little bit better had they had their own little tag associated with them. And I've been thinking of something. I don't know if this is going to take hold or not, but I'm going to try it. And so y'all know how this goes when the dark clouds get on the horizon and when thunder and lightning, right? And so that's what I'm going with, right? The thunder is going to be those running backs is going to be smashing people into the turf. And the lightning will be the quarterbacks who are striking them up with touchdown passes all over the place. So from this day forward, it's the dark cloud defense and the thunder and lightning offense. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon. I appreciate everyone being here this afternoon, both in person and virtually, for this exciting moment in FAMU football history. Today begins a new era in FAMU football. Today, we will add a new name to the legacy of FAMU football coaching greats. There was a large pool of interested and experienced candidates who were considered. And at the end of this process, James Colzie III emerged as the right person at this time to lead FAMU football. I want to thank everyone who gave their time and input in the selection of Coach Colzie, including President Larry Robinson, the FAMU Board of Trustees, Chairwoman Kristen Harper, the Search Committee Chair Donald Palm, the entire Search Committee, and Renaissance Search and Consulting Firm. My vision for this role included identifying a coach who first and foremost had a commitment to academic excellence and has a comprehensive understanding of APR. Coach Colzie is currently a doctoral student at Capella University studying leadership and higher education. So it is clear that he understands and appreciates the importance of higher education. Additionally, in his short time as the interim head coach, he has already begun implementing academic policies and penalties to hold our student athletes accountable to their academic expectations. Next, I wanted someone who knows what it takes to sustain this level of competitive excellence. Coach Colzie has experienced success both as a player and as a coach. As a two-sport student athlete at Florida State University, he won a national championship in 1993. As a coach, he won his first national championship in 2007 when he served as the special teams coordinator at Valdosta State. And of course, most recently served on the staff right here at FAMU that won the 2023 Celebration Bowl for the first time in program history. To identify coaching experience, Coach at St. Mary's University directly after my FAMU football mentors, Greg Coleman, Rudy Hubbard, Killer Lawrence, Akil Blunt, and Xavier Smith to lead the way in rallying support around our new head football coach. I ask everyone who loves FAMU to fully support our coach, his staff, and most of all, the apples of my eye, our football student athletes. Coach Colzie is now forever a part of the rich legacy of FAMU football head coaching greats. It is my honor to introduce to Rattler Nation our 19th full-time head football coach, James Colzie III.
Thank you very much. Band, if you don't mind, can I just hear, hey, let's go for about maybe 10 to 15 seconds, if that's okay? I get a chance to do that for the first time, so I'm just going to make that small request, please. Thank you very much. After Miss Sykes said what she had to say, and then hearing that song, I don't think I need to do anything else. But first and foremost, I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Without him, none of this would be possible. Next, I'd like to thank President Robinson for his confidence. And quick story about President Robinson. I was, they Howard that jumped out on us 14-0. I think about 10 minutes left in the first quarter. And, President Robinson normally stands by he's kind of on the sidelines, kind of in the beginning of the game when just watching us and making sure everything was going well. And we're down 14-0. So I quickly looked at him. I said, we're gonna turn it around. And he calmly and politely said, we better. So at that stage, we knew we had to get ourselves together, get ourselves going in the right direction. And as he said, we better, he, kind of slowly left the sideline. So I knew I had immediately to start screaming for no reason, but I think it got done. I think it ultimately worked, President Robinson. Secondly, our Vice President and Director of Athletics, A.D. Sykes. I call her boss. I call her A.D. Sykes. I call her Miss Tiffany. And I'm hoping to be calling her a friend for quite some time. She's done an amazing job. She's been extremely transparent with me throughout this entire process, and I can only help but say I appreciate that. Now, another quick story about A.D. Sykes I will say is we can no longer watch basketball games together because every time we watch a game together, that sucker decides to go into overtime. So if you guys see us standing next to each other at the basketball game, you might want us to move away because we might go into triple, double, or whatever the case may be. We might go into some type of overtime. So, Ms. Sykes, we're going to have to separate tonight. We will win, but we're going to have to separate how we sit with each other tonight. Couple things, if you don't mind, but want to thank the Rattler F Club, 220 Club, 220 Quarterback Club, FAMU National Alumni Association. We will reach our maximum potential by not compromising by anything that we do, keeping our vision and goals the same. I cannot wait to meet all of you in some capacity. I know there's a lot of excitement. My phone right now has currently 497 unread messages. And I promise to get back to everybody except for Vaughn, but I promise to get back to every single person within a timely fashion. I sent a message to my coaches last night. I put my phone away for about a good 24 hours. And my family thought it would be important that I put the phone down and spend time with them. And as I went back, that's when I realized all the messages and emails that I had throughout the day. And I can tell you this, it's great to be the head coach at Florida A&M University. As I continue my thanks, I can't forget about my players. And I say my in quotation marks now. Without them, their voice, their ability to share their confidence with me. The team, our first meeting we had January 6th, I challenged them to not worry about the outside noise. I challenged them to make sure we did a great job in the weight room. I challenged them to make sure we start off well academically. I challenged them to hold each other accountable. And they did up to this point, they've done a great job. And I'm hoping that we continue to do that. Now, what's next for us? We got fourth quarter drills. We have spring practice, spring game, April 13th. First game of the year. We are back in the city where it ended, where the season ended, back in Atlanta. And obviously we get a chance to open up the season against Norfolk State. Now, I want you to keep in mind one thing. When they introduce us, they will have no choice but to call us the reigning HBCU national champions. In my on the way home, on my flight back this morning, I had a chance to kind of look at social media. But this is a big time job when the hat that you wear on game day has its own Twitter handle. So this is a big job when they're worried about what you wear. But I guess that's some of the perks of the job. As I mentioned this morning, I was coming back off the road recruiting, and I was in Fort Lauderdale at the Fort Lauderdale airport. I don't know if you guys are quite sure how the Fort Lauderdale airport works at about 7 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. And I was wearing my FAMU stuff, and a lady noticed me, and she said, "FAMU," she goes, "Strike them." So I had to strike right back at her, and she goes to me. She says, "You guys are getting a new coach." I said, I kind of said politely. I kind of moved to the side, and I said, "Yeah, I'm James Colzie. I'm the head. I'm the new head football coach." And she says, "You've lost a lot of weight." So Josh Padilla, before we call any plays and blow any whistles, we're gonna have to change that headshot for me to have lost all that weight. She was her daughter had graduated in 2010, and she was currently working in Atlanta, Georgia. But that just goes to show you never know where the Rattlers are hanging out. Head coach Jake Gaither. Head coach Rudy Hubbard. Head coach Ken Riley. Head coach Billy Joe. Head coach Willie Simmons. And now head coach James Colzie III. Thanks for setting the standard, and I will do my very best to keep that standard. How will we get there? That's the question. My goal is that every year we beat that other team in Daytona Beach, win the SWAC championship, and play in the Celebration Bowl every year. That's the goal, which means that's the expectation. But I want to make sure we do it with class and continue to uphold FAMU's standard. It's going to be about winning, but also being about the right culture. We already have a contagious culture, and I can't wait to add to that. I want to make sure FAMU is continuing to build better men. Football will end eventually, and college years are ultimately influential times for our guys. So I want to make sure we're doing right by those guys. I want to make sure that we continue to surround our players with quality men, quality women that are in our program. But ultimately, I want to make sure that our guys are achieving the ultimate success by obviously winning SWAC championships, but also making sure that we are graduating when it's time for them to leave Florida A&M. I want to continue to ingrain myself into what makes FAMU such a special place. I want to continue to build the trust with my players and obviously the people that are surrounding this university. I want us to continue, guys. I want us to continue to build on our brotherhood. We're a pretty close team, but I'm hoping that we continue to be closer. I got a call from J.P. Pruitt Saturday, and he said he had my back. I didn't know exactly what that meant, but the way he sounded, I knew he meant it. But as I thought about it, he fought for me. He talked for me. He was my voice when I necessarily wasn't saying a whole lot. I wanted to make sure I was taking care of this football team. And J.P. Pruitt and the rest of our guys, I truly, truly appreciate what you did for me. I want our team to be aggressive and explosive, right? That's how we've been over the last couple of years that I've been here, and especially the last 4 or 5 years that I've been here with Coach Simmons. I will say this, the most important thing that I can say for our football team, as far as what I would consider the lifeline of our program, is our recruiting. We got to make sure we continue to bring in the right people at Florida A&M, not just on the football field, but obviously off the field. Well, I can tell you this, the perks of the job. I get a parking spot. I get a good parking spot. I actually probably one of the best parking spots on campus. Now, real quick, I'm going to discuss something that I heard yesterday. I'm going to be honest with you. I was a little nervous last night. I was yesterday afternoon at church. I was a little nervous. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know quite what to say. So I got a chance to go to church. I went home, but I had a chance to go to church. And normally when you go to church, you kind of get everything you need. Our pastor, his name is Nathaniel Robinson, and he's the pastor of St. Paul AME Church in Coconut Grove, Florida. He's a FAMU high grad, but he also graduated from Florida Memorial, which ultimately shows not everybody's perfect. And his topic was, there is a joy in the journey. And when he mentioned that, And he was telling me some stuff that I really didn't realize. But when he was telling me that when these people make highways, you never really see highways that always go straight. There's rules that state that if they go straight, every once in a while, there's got to be a curve here and there. You can't go straight for 50 miles. You can't be perfect for 20, 30, 40, 50 miles because every once in a while, they're going to throw a curve in there. They're going to throw a hill in there. Sometimes they might throw a pothole, a hill, and a curve at the same time. And when I thought about that, it made me think about coaching. I've been extremely blessed to have my wife who has allowed me to continue my dreams as a coach. We started off in Carrollton, Georgia, and then we moved to a big city called Magnolia, Arkansas. It's about the size of the 50-yard line. Then from Magnolia, Arkansas, we moved to Vancouver, British Columbia. After Vancouver, British Columbia, we moved to Coffeyville, Kansas. Then after Coffeyville, Kansas, we moved back to Vancouver. So you can only imagine why we were moving back and forth. Well, ultimately, when you have success, coaches want to find you or coaches want to see you. After leaving Vancouver for the second time, we ended up in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I had the opportunity to be the head coach for the very first time. And then after that, I got a chance to come here for 2 years and ultimately win the HBCU National Championship. And hopefully my road continues to stay straight while I'm here. My mother, Ernestine Eulandra Smith Colzie, who passed away in July 17th of 2021. And then my father, James Colzie Jr., proud HBCU graduates of Albany State University. They bestowed the values that they wanted from their children. And yes, at home, a belt might or might not have been used in regards to me. But we had Sunday school, we had church. Education was the key. We were going to respect our elders, and we were going to love our family. I can't tell you how many times my mother would make me go hug and speak all the elders in my church, even though I really, really didn't want to. But my mother made sure that I did that. Now, a lot of my elders, when I was younger, that a lot of the elders are now older. And it's extremely important. As I walked out of church yesterday, I made sure I hugged every single one of them. Well, ultimately, I got a lot of people that know my family name. Normally, when you type in the name Colzie and you type your name Colzie in the search engines, the things you might find are FHSA, FHAA Hall of Famer, Negro League Hall of Famer, former FSU baseball player, first-round draft pick of the Oakland Raiders, FSU football player, FSU softball players, Tampa Bay Bucks defensive back. And again, these are all, if you just type in James Colzie or just the name Colzie, these are things that might pop up. Colzie's Court, James Colzie Senior Street, which is in Coconut Grove. But I can tell you this, but since this past Friday, the name that's now resonating the most is James Colzie, the 19th head football coach at Florida A&M University. I want to thank the staff that's been sticking with me since January. There's some ups and some downs, some highs and some lows, but we maintain focus. We maintain what was important, our players, their well-being, making sure that they're doing everything that they need to do. So staff that's here with me right now, I want to say thank you very, very much, because at times I had nothing to say, and you guys understood that. But hey, at our 4 o'clock meeting, we'll have a lot to say as we get ourselves ready for this upcoming season. Again, I want to say thank you for everybody. Thank you for the people that are coming out. And again, one more time, band, if we can end this with, hey, let's go. I'm going to sit my behind down and maybe answer any questions I may need to after the fact. Thanks again. Thank you.
Coach, my name is Alberto Camargo. I'm with WTXL. I just want to ask you, your college career started here in Tallahassee, and now after so many years, how does it feel for your first head coaching job in the United States to be also here in Tallahassee, Florida?
Well, it felt good until 80 Sykes mentioned 30 years ago. But obviously, this is my third time being in Tallahassee, believe it or not, right? I was, playing at Florida State, and then obviously being a grad assistant at Florida State, and then ultimately now being the head football coach here. It's had a lot of memories here, a lot of friendships that have lasted during that 30-year period. So, ultimately, I'm extremely happy to be here. I'm extremely happy for the opportunity, and ultimately, we're gonna take full advantage of making sure that we ensure FAMU's back where it needs to be, or continues to stay where they need to be.
Hey, what's going on, Coach?
How you doing, buddy?
Gerald Thomas, Tallahassee Democrat. First off, Coach, congratulations on getting named the 19th full-time head coach here at FAMU. I'm proud of you. My question for you would be, what is your vision for this program? What are things that you may be prioritizing first as you come into this job as FAMU's new head coach?
Well, I would say first priority right now is making sure we sign a successful class on February 7th. Our staff meeting today will be about recruiting, making sure that we solidify our class, ID some guys that we feel are going to help us, continue to keep us where we need to be. Now, after that, making sure our guys are continuing to do the right thing. Our guys are doing a very, very good job in the weight room, doing a very, very good job academically. I want to make sure we kind of get ourselves out in the community a little bit more. But, for me right now, it's about solidifying our recruiting class and making sure our guys are good. That's where I'm at. That's what I've been about since January 1, beginning the opportunity of being the interim head coach. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm not really worried about anything else except the guys that are in that locker room and those coaches that are in the office with me.
Coach host of Round One Sports Talk Show and editor of the Capital Outlook. So can you talk a little bit about your efforts in re-recruiting the guys who commit, decommit, and getting them back here, and what it means to have players of that stature?
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit. I mean, we lost maybe one or two guys, I want to say, from our class. We had the opportunity to get Rodney Hill back, which I think is going to be a great deal for us. But at the end of the day, recruiting is about relationships. But ultimately, you're right. Guys are going to go where they want to go. But we will continue to try to show our brand, to show what we can do to help them be successful while they're here. Now, do we have some needs? Yes. I think Coach Henry and I will talk later on. I think we're talking about maybe getting a couple more offensive linemen. We need a couple more wide receivers, but that's everywhere in the country, right? So yes, we're going to address our needs. And again, we want to make sure that we're just not going to grab guys just to grab guys. We want to make sure we're grabbing the right guys that fit our system, fit what we need them to be academically, where we want them to be on a football field, and where we want them to be socially.
Congratulations,
Thank
Coach
you.
Colby. Spencer Henderson, FAMU TV 20. I just want to know, I saw your players at the championship celebration. They were chanting your name, Colzie. What does that mean to have your players, to have your back throughout this whole situation from the jump?
Well, it's been great. I can't say it hasn't. It's been great. I think they understand that, they have my back, but I'm also going to have theirs, right? There's a trust that's been built over these last couple of years, but I asked my guys I wouldn't ask them to do anything else except be honest with me, do what's asked, and just be quality individuals, right? So, that's not going to change now that I'm the head coach or the permanent head coach. So, the guys know exactly what we need, how to be successful. I don't have to hype them up. I don't have to do any of that. Those guys go in the weight room right now. They're fired up. They're getting it done. I just want to add a couple of things that I maybe want to do or want to do, and just add to the success that we've had over the last couple of years.
Coach. 3.
Coach
Yes,
Vaughn
sir.
Wilson,
Yes, sir.
HBCU Game Day. Got a pocket full of messages that I have to give to you. But
Okay. Yes, sir.
what I'd like to ask is, what is it that head coach Mickey, defensive coordinator Mickey Andrews instilled in his defensive players as we are seeing several of them become head coaches?
We're harping on the details. I think, we talked about, preparing our guys, obviously, for the games, but always harping on the details, putting your eyes in the right spot, making sure your alignments, your stance, all of those things, right? All of those things matter, right? The little things don't become big things if you don't take care of your business, right? So that was the biggest thing I would say with Coach Andrews, right? And then obviously making sure that we were disciplined in all matters, because if you're undisciplined on the field, it's going to carry over into the classroom. It's going to carry over into your social life. So make sure, make sure you're always being a good example, right? Not just for your teammates, not just for yourself, but also for your family, because you want to make sure you're being a quality individual throughout your time, whether it's at FAMU or anywhere else in the country. Cool. Pardon me. Sorry.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming out and supporting Coach Colzie as we introduced him as our 19th head football coach. And if you tuned in online, thank you for tuning in. Encourage you, if you're free tonight, come out to Al Lawson Center as our women's and men's basketball teams take on Jackson State at 5:30 and 8 p.m. So thank you all for coming.